All right, people, it's Friday. You know what time it is. It's time for the MMA Mainstream Podcast. I'm James, of course, as always, joined with my co-host, Kaelyn. Kaelyn, we have some guests today. We have Archie, and we have El Guapo, Bas Rutten. Wow, this is a huge get for us. We appreciate the time, sir. Man, damn, I'm sorry. I'm at a loss for words right now. I'll get together in a minute, but I'm just super excited. Thank you for coming on, first of all. So, of course, we just like to talk to fighters, and you're a legend, but you come through as such a fun guy, and yet you're the most badass dude ever. How often are you tested? Like, do people ever try to mess with you, or do they just know, oh, no.
They would. They have done in the past, when they would be simply drunk and stupid. But I don't fall in the bait. What happened was after the Sweden bar fight story with the 5 bouncers I had, after that, it magically disappeared. So I never had one again after that. So I guess that was the way to get rid of it, to just fight a bunch of bouncers, I guess.
If it works, it works.
It works, yeah, that's right. Because, I just call the security. They always know, and thankfully, a lot of security know you already when you come in, because I watch fighting, right? They're probably fighters themselves. And then I just go my hand up like, I come over here. And I'm still talking to the guy, and I'll say, can you take him out, he's an asshole? And then the guy starts yelling, you're looking for a fight. I don't want to fight, bye. So yeah. So useless.
Yep. Hey, Bas, you had a show this past weekend. That's where I met you. I appreciate you so much following up so fast. As James has said, we've all had our share of meeting, especially in this podcast. We met a lot of fighters, and to have you on our show, appreciate you following up so fast. Man, that was amazing. And we were at your show this past weekend. You had an amazing show. Congratulations. I have one question. Was that your first show? Or are you going to be doing more shows if that was your first, or how's that going?
This was the second one we had. And by the way, I lost your business cards. Thankfully, April, I called April. I go, my wife put my pants in the washer. And I go, I said, do you have his number? Thankfully, she had it. So anyway, this was the second one. The first one we had was a long time ago. It was also a success, was also sold out already days before. And this was the same. The only problem we had a bunch of fights getting canceled. That's the thing with amateur, right? They weigh you in on the day of the fight. So if something goes wrong, well, it goes wrong. That's it. You don't have a fight. So thankfully, we solved it a little bit with some grappling matches from high level guys, which apparently looked really good. I heard the first match, people were flying around everywhere in the cage, and the fights the fights were great. We had a really good turnout, and we had a really good performance also from our guys.
Yeah, it was a great show. Yeah, no, I appreciate your hospitality. It was great.
You're welcome, my friends. You're welcome.
So, Bas, I kind of wanted to ask you a few questions. I've seen a bunch of your interviews, and, I feel like you typically get the same questions. So I kind of wanted to ask some stuff that I didn't really catch. I know that your MMA career is obviously legendary. I kind of want to know a little about your Muay Thai before you got into MMA. What was that like? And, obviously you had a pretty impressive record. How was that? And then what made you want to go over to MMA after that?
Muay Thai was, listen, I was just a brawler. I was just I always tell this to people. I didn't have it under control yet. But I'd like to say this, if you're a fighter, and all the fighters will tell you the same thing. There's a lot of fighters who are really good in the gym, but they can't fight under pressure. Now, I was one of those guys. I could fight under pressure because I was just super explosive and had a lot of power, so I knocked a lot of people out. But if I would face a really good guy and I couldn't put him away in the first or second round, that could be a big trouble for me. You see, so I didn't have that under control yet. I got away with it. Although I lost one fight, but that was a stupid reason. I took a fight when I was drunk. I had no clue that I took the fight, and I didn't train for 3.5 years. And then, 2.5 weeks before the fight, they called me to where to send the posters to. I go, what posters for the fight? I say, who's fighting? He goes, you. I said, who am I fighting? He goes, Frank Lotman. I go, the Animal. That was his nickname. 41-0 with 39 knockouts. And I apparently decided to fight that guy after being partying for 3.5 years. So that was not a very smart decision. And me, the man of my honor, because I knocked everybody out before, but this was a complete different guy. This was a guy, like a real good guy. The other guys were just nuts. And 2.5 weeks wasn't enough. Let me tell you that. I lost that fight. So that wasn't so good. But what happened was, if suddenly everybody in Holland, the fans in Holland sometimes are relentless, but it's everywhere in the world. You lose a fight, and then suddenly you're the worst fighter on the planet. They forgot about all the knockouts I had in the first round, like 9 of them, one in the second round, but the rest blast everybody away. And suddenly I was the worst fighter there was. So I decided not to fight in Holland anymore. And but martial arts was always in me. And I had a taekwondo coach at the time, Roland Janssen was his name. And we did these choreographed fight scenes. So we started doing it in nightclubs. Like at midnight, the light would go down. And then suddenly this music came up, and then we came out with our spandexes and pumped up bodies, and then we started doing fights, with sticks, with wood sticks, but high level stuff like somersaults, and we go back flips and all that kind of stuff. I kick him in the gut, he grabs my leg, then he throws me back. I make a flying back kick while I kick him in the face, like really cool stuff. And that became a hit suddenly. So people started inviting us at big kickboxing events, and suddenly we're doing it for TV. Suddenly we're doing it for Dutch TV, European TV. We started traveling, going to France, doing these shows everywhere. And I would always come up with these backflips and somersaults. And that's how we walked to the place where we had to do our performance. And then on one of these shows, somebody stopped me, and it was Chris Dolman. And Chris Dolman is the godfather of MMA, so to say, in Holland. And he told me, he says, Bas, I remember you from kickboxing. I mean, you were an animal. And now I see you doing all these backflips and crazy stuff. You're super athletic. Why don't you go and start free fighting? I go, free fighting? What is that? And he was doing that in Japan already at that time. It was called Rings, the organization Rings. So sure, but I came there a few times. Amsterdam, he lives in Amsterdam, and his gym is in Amsterdam. And it's 2.5 hours driving from where I am. I'm all the way at the south of Holland. He's in the north. So I didn't train there a lot, but that guy, because apparently I was doing good in training, I had just 3 classes, but I got killed. I mean, I thought I could hold jokes, armbar. I mean, I got just slaughtered. But anyway, he thought there was something in me, and he called me one day. He says, "But you got to jump in the car right now, and you can come to Amsterdam because it's 2 scouts are here from a new organization called Pancras, and they're looking for fighters." So I jumped in the car. And I went over there, and I got in a brawl with one of his ring champions who wanted to, because we had to spar on camera, and I think he wanted to show that he was a badass. So he went really hard, and I stopped him. I said, "Listen, we don't need to do this. We just need to technique. They want to see technique. We don't need to go hard." And I think he thought I was afraid, so he turned it up. So I stopped him again, and I go like this, "It's okay for me, but it's not going to be one-way traffic. I'm going to knock you out if you keep going." So now, of course, it was on. But it was very fast. I high kicked him in the face. Very spectacular. He went down. He needed a bunch of stitches, so they sent him off to the hospital. And that was it. Suzuki and Funaki, those 2 fighters, they were there, and they were pointing at me. And bada bing, bada boom, September 21st, 1993, I was fighting in Japan. The wildest thing ever.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
your Pancras career is absolutely amazing. I could watch those videos all day. It is so, compared to the stuff you'll see today, and UFC, Bellator, all those organizations. It's getting very, very technical. It is exciting. It's very exciting. But looking back on like Pancras, it's like, whoa, that's like another level of damage that you guys would take. I can't believe like your liver shots. It's like, dude, you can hear the noise it would make at the place that you were fighting at. I'm like I get chills watching those videos. I'm like, what? I don't see a lot of that in UFC, although UFC is wonderful. It seemed very different back then. Maybe more brutal, I guess you could say. Although it was still very technical. I'm not used to seeing that amount of damage, in UFC as it was in Pancras. So that, I was very surprised at that. But yeah, so I was always wondering about your kickboxing career because I'm like, how did this all get started, So that's interesting. Yeah, and then watching, every time you'd end a fight, you do those crazy jumps. You're super flexible. I was like, man, this guy's athletic. Like, did this guy have something going on before or what?
I didn't even know that I did that. I remember that after the fight, it was the first fight. It was 43 seconds. I remember that I palm striked him because he was taller and underneath his jaw, and he went down. And they had 8 counts in Japan. So his hands were up. So I gave him a full liver kick. Hands went down again, and then I knocked him out. And while he went down, I kneed him in the face. And it was a little too hard because he was out for 2 days. It's very scary. I almost stopped my career there because I didn't want to hurt the guy. I mean, he was a very nice guy before he came in. But anyway, I was walking on the street the next day, and like 1 in 15 people or something, they stopped bowing to me. And it blew my mind. I go, how do they even know me? And then I passed a newspaper stand, and there was a picture of me hanging in the splits in the air. And I go, I didn't even know
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and then below me was the guy knocked out on the ground. I go, oh, so that's how they knew. But I didn't even know that I did the jumps. I was so excited. And those jumps, I always used to do that for my friends for fun. Hey, boss, jump up. And I would do the splits. So I figured, I'll do the splits. In my trademark, I had to do it after every fight I won. I had to do the jump. So, that's funny how things get bored.
Yeah. Going back to Pancrase, though, watching that and comparing it to, UFC or MMA today, I want to know, did you ever have a hard time following all those rules back then? Because they're a little strange. They're not, typical. You can only palm strike to the head, closest to the body. Did you ever kind of get lost in that? Like, oh man, I don't know what I can and can't do, or were you pretty solid on that?
Yeah. Okay. So this was the thing. This was the difference. Once I was Thai boxing, every picture you saw of me, if I would hit somebody, it was like my facial expressions. I was complete anger. In Pancrase, it was this, and I was I tell people this. It's really weird. It's like during the fight, I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? I'm so calm. I could understand everybody, the English-speaking people at the first row. I knew what they were talking about during my fight. It was the wildest thing ever. And I go like, wow. And the things I did, there is this moment, and I talk about this more often, and it was so you have an 8 count, right, in Pancrase. So I knocked him out. I knocked him down with a palm strike since he was 6'3", and I'm 6 feet. So I palm striked him. He went down. Now, if you sprint to your corner, that would be the smartest thing to do, because that means that the guy is going to get the least amount of time to recoup, right? Because you start counting when you're in the corner. So, but something in my head told me there was 2 voices going on. One voice tells me to run to the corner, and the other voice is telling me, no, play different. It's just stand still. So he's on the ground, and I'm standing still, and I'm looking at him till I get a look from him. And then I look at him, I give him a beat, and then I walk back very slowly. And the other voice is telling me, run, go faster. But the other guy says, no, be calm. That one person was thinking that it was way more intimidating for that guy to look at him and go, oh, take all the time you need. I'm going to take my time walking back to the corner. Take your time. Then me running to the corner and, hey, start counting, like that. But I don't know why I was doing that. It was such a weird thing. I was so aware of everything in the place. And that's what I always tell people. Like in Thai boxing, I didn't have that. I'm really good in training. I would train with K1 guys. Trust me, I would really good. But in fighting, I wasn't like that. I was too nervous, too much thinking about the audience. I gotta win. And I just slaughtered the guy. And in Pancrase, I think the difference was that on the day of the fight, I found out that my guy was like 30 pounds heavier than me. And then it was 1 round of 30 minutes, and I go like, oh crap. I didn't know. I thought it was 5 rounds of 3 minutes, just like in Thai boxing. So then I think automatically I thought, okay, I cannot go all the way, because if I do, and I can't put him away in 1.5 minutes. I got 28.5 minutes more to go, So I put these arms on my hand with a big marker, rustig, which coincidentally is relaxed, but also starts with an R. In Holland, it's the same word. And that made me so calm. And that's where my career started blossoming. But that was it. It was the wildest experience I ever had. And then after the fight, I mean, people putting a baby in my hand, a couple. I mean, I felt like president. I'm with the baby making a picture, flexing. I mean, it's so crazy. Like in Holland, you beat a Japanese guy beats a Dutch guy, you're gonna need security to get him out of the place, you know. And there they just embraced me. It was something. It's a very. I talked to Frank Shem. This is like 2 years ago, so we were having a cup of coffee somewhere. I go, don't you miss that time, man? He goes, it was the best time ever, right? I go, it really was. The only thing we had to do was working out and nothing else. No all that BS they have right now, the press conference and traveling and doing this.
Oh, man. Yeah.
No, you just showed up to fight, and that was it. No pressure whatsoever. Dude, what a good time. And then the amount of fights we fought. I mean, the first year I fought 8 fights. The second year I fought 9 fights. People complaining, I had already 3 fights this year. I go, I fought like 16 fights in 2 years. Because if you didn't get injured, might as well keep fighting because you can make money again. So, yeah, that was a really good time. And the camaraderie among the guys. It is such a tight group. And all the guys, the champions we got out of Pancras, we were such a small organization, but look how many UFC champions they produced. And I believe it was because of the rule set they had. I 100% believe that. Because if you look at me, like I have 15 submissions and 13 or 12 knockouts, right? Mm-hmm. But if you look at my record, I have, I think it's 43 submissions because there were the rope escapes. So now if I get somebody in a choke and I get close to a rope and he can touch the rope, I have to let him go. But that's count the same as an 8 count. So if the fight goes the distance and he grabbed the rope once and I didn't, then he's going to lose, you see? So, but the good thing about that was, and I understand people, you just have to make sure that you never grab the rope. Treat it as a real fight. But then also you become more strategical. Because now if I want to reverse somebody, you know, do I want to reverse him towards to the rope or he's close to the rope? I got to do it to the other side, center of the ring. But in the center of the ring now, if he reverses it again, then you see there's a whole different strategy that you have to do. And another good thing is you get him in a submission, he touches the rope, you start again on your feet. Now you have a second fight. So you have way more ring time by doing that rule set than the other fights, because otherwise you submit him and he's over. But no, you have to get. I had a fight one time, I submitted a guy 5 times. That was the maximum amount. See, that's 5 fights in one evening. That's how you can do it because you get more time in the ring. And that's why I think we had like 7 UFC champions from Pancras, from a small organization. That's why I'm advocating for it. I go like, they should bring that back. You know, it's great as an amateur thing. It's great as well, but also to give people more time in the ring so they can explore. You know, the more you're working, the more you learn, right?
I feel like maybe they don't want to be in there longer. I don't know. Watching, UFC is very strict.
If it's a rule, you know it's going to happen before. Right. Yeah. No, UFC not. But I think as an organization, if you look at the results, and like I said, how many champions they produced, it's working. You know, so why not make a new organization that is maybe a feeder to all the big organizations? And this is where you can really get yourself down, get comfortable, you know, and fight a lot. Because just make sure that you don't grab the rope yourself. If you do that, then you treat it as a real fight. Then at least you never lost for real. You know, that's how I would treat it.
Right. I thought that was so strange. I'm like, oh, that's so wild. You could purposely grab the rope and start over. I couldn't believe when, I was checking it out and watching it, like, oh, you could submit multiple times in one fight. And the goal, I guess, is to stay in there longer, which is amazing. Rather in UFC, you touch the fence, the ref's all over you. Like, no, don't do that. It's against the rules and stuff like that.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong. If I can, I'll finish the fight. I'm not going to go do it on purpose, of course. It's always all these guys go, oh, I want to be there longer. Fight. No. The longer you're in there, the more time he can get lucky too, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the faster you can clean somebody out, clean them out, and that's it. The fight's over. Right. Unfortunately, with the rules, that wasn't. So you have to get back into it.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question.
Oh, go for it.
Talking about Pancras and everything, what do you think about fighters now? Because you competed a lot within a short amount of time. What do you think about fighters now that are just willing to wait for a title opportunity or wait for a fight that they feel like that is really geared for them?
That's the dumbest thing there is. I mean, you should be fighting. It's like running for your stamina. People go running for the stamina. I go, it's the dumbest thing there is. You're going to run in the ring and you're going to fight. So that's how I came up with the Bas Rutten workout, with an audio workout. That was punching and kicking. That's because think about this. If you run half an hour and you run it every day, well, you do the math how many hours that is. All that combined, a month is a lot of hours that if you spend those hours on training on something that you're actually going to do, that will be way smarter, right? It makes no sense.
Right.
So,
That's true. It makes so much sense. I mean, so there's other forms of cardio, and that's training and doing your workout. And is that a replacement of cardio, you think, or for running?
oh yeah, 100%. But it's it's all about how you treat it, right? I have guys that come in and they can do a workout that I do a punching and kicking in the air. If you do it or I do it, there's black and white. Like I go, and I don't. For me, everything is 100%. I cannot throw a jab on the back. Also, I can't. It's a defect in my head. I can only hit as hard as I can, all the time. Which was a problem in the beginning. You have to understand the first year of Pancras. Well, the first 10 months, I think, I trained on the back. I had no training partners in Holland. I trained 2 times a day on the back. And then when I would spar with my students, because I was a Thai boxing coach, I would drop everybody with jabs because I was only hitting it back. I had no clue how hard I was hitting. You see what I mean? So that wasn't the right thing. But what it does do, if you do everything 100% and go into a fight, it's actually pretty easy because there you don't have an output like you have 12 rounds full on the back. You see, so stamina is the number one thing all the time. There's no such thing, I tell everybody, as having enough stamina. My fighters this weekend, they're amateurs. And I told them before, I say, yeah, but I'm in a good shape. I say, you're not. He says, no, boss, but I'm doing. I say, yes, in the gym you're in shape. But that gets cut in half at the moment you go to fight. With all the stress and your adrenaline, trust me, you're going to lose it. And every single one of them, if they came back from the first round, they go like, dude, I go, you were so right. I go, yeah, I told you. Always, folks, if you're an amateur and a beginning fighter, stamina is your number one friend. You gotta have to attack it and find a way to love it. That's what I did, because it's otherwise it's not going to be fun. But that's the one thing that if you have more stamina than your opponent, you're going to win. If at whatever team in every sport, if you're equally skilled, the person with the most stamina is going to win the fight. That's it, because you can keep on pushing. You see, so. There's no such thing as having enough stamina. That's what I always say.
Now, talking about stamina, you had asthma as a child, and yet you developed the O2 trainer. Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
You see, that started because I was such a severe asthma that every 5 weeks I would be a week in bed, not able to eat because I couldn't breathe. People go like, oh, I have asthma. No. Try the asthma that I had, like severe. And I had a horrible skin disease as well. Oh, yeah, there it is. You see, and what happened was that after every attack that I had for like a week in bed, I would resume my track and field. I was a really good track and field guy. And I would always break my running times when that happened. And I go like, why is it? Is it the medication I'm taking? During the attack, why do I have better stamina? And then I went to the doctor's office and I saw at the office a drawing of a pair of lungs on the wall. And that's when I realized, because as a person, you always think a lung infection, you think it's in your lungs. It's not in your lungs. It's the airways that go to the lungs. And it showed a healthy airway and it showed an infected airway. I was 14 years old when I came up with this idea. And I go like, oh my God, wow. I've been pulling air in with resistance. So I've been training my lungs. At the time, I thought my lungs did the work, which I know now that it's not. But anyway, I've been training my lungs with resistance, and therefore, after a week laying in bed, breathing like that, and now the infection gone, but now my lungs are much stronger. It's easier to pull the air in. Why don't I come up with something that controls the air intake?
Wow.
I start making it. Listen, every fight, everywhere I went, always, wherever I go, I always had an inhaler in my pocket. If I would sneeze violently, it's exercise induced. You have to open up. A lot of asthma patients have that. So I always needed to carry an inhaler with me. Within 3 weeks, my asthma was completely gone. I never used an inhaler anymore.
Oh, gosh.
I said it to a buddy who has asthma in Holland. 8 days later, he calls me and says, dude, I want to sell him in Holland. What's going on? I go, my asthma is gone. You see, and that's when everything started. Now, I tried to bring it on the market. It didn't work, but it had such a great results, but it looks really crappy. It's a little plastic thing. People go like,
I have it.
But then suddenly, I went to Dr. Belisa Vredic. She's a world-renowned breathing expert. And the first thing she did was measuring my chest expansion. And I know what she's doing, because the more you can expand your chest, the easier it is to fill up your lungs with air. Because chest expansion, that's how you fill up your lungs with air. People think your chest expands because you put air in them. No, your chest expands, and that's how you pull air in. It's a mind blow, right? It's really crazy. And she measured me and she started laughing. She says, no, that's not possible. Let's do it again. And then she measured me again, runs out, comes back with another doctor. And I go, what's going on? She says, well, if I don't bring him, he's not going to believe what I just measured. I mean, your chest expansion is unheard of. We've never seen anything. Like a breathing IQ. You can have a breathing IQ. Go to thebreathingiq.com. There's a website. You can measure your own breathing IQ. And then you can start working. We give you exercises, and then you can get better. So good breathing IQ is 100. I had 182. So they were like, wow, what the heck is going on? And then she found out that was the freaking thing, the O2 trainer. And then she put it in a book. Now people start using it. Now I have pulmonologists buying it. I mean, it's doing so much right now for everything, for sport, for COPD, anxiety, I mean, asthma, athletes, balance, back support. Back support. Yeah, that's apparently very normal because your diaphragm does all digesting. Everything is all diaphragm. We all are chest breathers. We breathe like this. And 4 to 6 of these breaths is the same as one belly breath. So once you start training, which your O2 trainer does, it trains your muscles responsible for breathing. Then you get chest expansion. You get up to 5 times more oxygen. What drives me nuts is that you have these trainers in all these sports and also in martial arts, and they all get like trainer of the year. Not one of them doesn't. And if you go to the real high level guys like Jack Daniels, the most famous, not the drink of course, the most famous running coach, they all focus on respiratory muscle training because it's the most important thing because 95% of the people out there breathe wrong. I was breathing wrong in title fight. You see me breathing like this. That is completely wrong. You asked Lyoto Machida. Lyoto Machida called me. I gave him an O2 trainer, and he's a guy, if you give something to him, a karate guy, they got habits, and he does it. 5 months he did it. Got COVID. And then he called me after he had COVID. He goes, Bas, it's unbelievable. I go, what's going on? He goes, I was a week in bed. I gave it 3 more days. I came out and I started training with my guys, he said. They're fighting right now in the UFC and Bellator. They're competing at the highest level. I outworked everybody. He says, this thing is the most insane thing ever. It's 100%. I have still the voicemail on my phone. That's how powerful it is. So I don't understand more people are not using it. By the way, it's good that you said that because I set it up because that's why I was asking if it's live. If you go to o2trader.com and you have the promo code, you use liver shot, right? Can't forget that. You get 20% discount for today and tomorrow. So if you're listening to this and you say, hey, I would like to try it out. And please, guys, if you do this, do it for a month straight. It takes 4 minutes a day. That's it. But 4 minutes for all these pussies out there, suddenly after 5 days, oh, my muscle aches because you're going to feel I have bodybuilders buying them for abs now. They never had good abs, and now they have abs because of the O2 trainer. It will really work your core muscles. So you're going to feel this thing. But once you do, I've been doing it for 4 years every single day. I post videos about it every single day. So it will change your life. Now I've stopped about it.
Yeah. No, I don't have asthma or anything like that, but I bought it because I thought it was cool a long time ago. I think it may have been the first one you came out with.
Go to the website. This is important, Kaelyn. Go to the website because right now I do breathing exercises we do with it. 4 minutes. And that forces focus. In the beginning, I was working out with him, but then I got in contact with the guy who trains Usain Bolt and other people, Olympic level guys. Yeah. And he said, Bas, just do the breathing exercises with it. Usain Bolt, when he comes out of his high altitude tent every morning, first thing he does is 30 repetitions with inspiratory muscle training, which is what the O2 trainer is, the inspiratory muscle trainer. So it's really good to do it the first thing in the morning is what I do. And you should really look at the breathing exercises, Kaelyn, because it'll change you immediately. I promise you.
Wow, yeah, no, I was like hitting pads with it and stuff, and it'd kill me, but it still did help for sure. I had no idea about maybe just do breathing exercises with it. That's a great.
No. That was just the scientist told me. He says do that. That's way more important. I work out with it as well, but every day I do breathing exercises with it.
And Bas, you said, Bas, you had a website, or what's the website to go to?
O2trainer.com. O2 Trainer. I also did 0-2 because I know people out there are going to do 0-2 because that's what we do with numbers. So I thankfully I got both websites. That's it. Go to that website, and then like for instance, there's the science tab, and this is just 2% of the thing. Watch all the medical journals there. These are published medical journals that back up everything that I'm saying, and that will send you straight if you click on it to the published medical website. So there's nothing I can do. I can't edit that. This is 100% proven what it does. Clinically proven. These stupid. When you buy a product, I always laugh about this. People say, "Oh, it's clinically tested." I go, "Don't buy it. Because what else? What was the result of that test? That's what you need to know. It's just a way for them to put the word clinically in, and then some morons say, "Oh, clinically, I gotta buy it." No, clinically proven, and that is all clinically proven what we have here.
Well, I think I'm going to have to. We need to spread the word out here, Bas. See where we're at. Just to give you an idea. We're in Central California, right in the middle of California. We're in Fresno, but we're all. We cover the whole California Western region. We talk to people around the world, but that's good that we're introducing this product to some new people here that we're surrounded by.
If you do it for 30 days straight, you have asthma or COPD, and your asthma or COPD is not 70% or more gone, I'll give you your money back. That's my thing. And I've been saying this for the last 5 years, and nobody comes back. Because if you do it, it will be gone. And I'm with most of the people, it's gone. But I'm just being very gentle here, 70% or more gone. That's what I'm saying. But if you have exercise-induced asthma, it will be 100% gone. I guarantee you that.
Wow.
Nice.
It's big.
That's awesome. Now, all right, I have a question for you. I've watched your movies, so I'm curious, which role was which one did you enjoy more? Being in Here Comes the Boom or being in The Eliminator? Because yes, I own that movie.
Yeah, you own The Eliminator.
I own it. Yes. I tell you I'm a legit fan. Yeah. Not playing.
That was my first movie I did. The big one, and I had a lot of fun shooting that thing. It was actually not that bad. I don't think so for my first movie, but you got to go, of course, with Here Comes the Boom, because it was almost written for me, the part. I mean, I was Dutch, going looking for everything was in there. It was perfect. They let me do they gave me all the script, but they said whatever you want to change to make it more sound like you, do whatever you want to do with it, but keep the meaning and everything the same. And I had a lot of fun doing that movie. I mean, I get stopped on the street, little kids stop me still. There's a lot of people who know me not from the movie and not from fighting, so that's kind of cool too.
That's crazy to me, but I'm also been a lifelong fight fan. So
yeah.
Now, all right. Wow, I just kind of blanked right now. Now, okay, my follow-up question is, how did you meet Kevin James? Because I feel like you've been in a lot of his stuff. So how did that happen?
I met Kevin within 3 months I came to America. So I know Kevin now 25 years. And that was when he had the first season of The King of Queens. And I remember visiting him in an apartment that he shared with his brother on Overland here in Los Angeles. And then many years later, he is this giant star, and he's exactly the same guy, same people around him, he never changed. And he's just became a very close friend of mine. We're every day we're in contact with each other. He's just he's something, man. That guy, the things that he does for others, and the way he presents himself. That's the guy I look up to as an example. Like how to represent yourself. Now, I've been more crazy. I've been drinking and getting into crazy fights. He never did that. And I wish now I've got too bad to clock that that wasn't with me either. But hey, it is what it is. He talks about the fun stories we had. We had one guy one time. I went to the restroom, and then this big guy walked up in some disco that we had. Disco, look at me, how old I am. It's a nightclub. Apparently he started messing with Kevin, and Kevin was constantly just thinking, "Oh, come back, boss," he said to me, and he started to tell the story to everybody. And then at the guy got really in his face, and I started walking back, say, "What's up?" And the guy goes, right, "Oh, hey man, boss," I said, "It's my friend, right?" He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he apologized. And Kevin, till this day, he loves that story. He thinks it's hilarious. So, yeah, I know him for a very long time.
Now, for quite some time, you did commentary for Pride Fighting. And now, do you have a favorite fight that you called from that time that you were doing that?
No, I'm always talking about what's one of the most anticipated fights was Grigorieff versus Fedor. The build-up, the packages that they had for the fighters there that they showed on the big screen, which they weren't allowed to show somehow in America. And I go, why are you not doing that? I mean, it's so good. I remember Dana White, he came there, for the middleweight tournament. He was there with Chuck Liddell, and he put him in, and then he was there a show before. And I believe that was with Grigorieff and Fedor. And when they came out, and I remember there were, 48,000 people in the audience. and it started. And I remember looking back, and I saw him standing, and he was literally with his eyes and mouth open, and then he caught me, and he goes like, "This is crazy." I go, "Yeah, this is something else," So it was that fight, but all the fights. Quinton Jackson when he slammed him. I mean, what
awesome.
the heck was that? Like there are such an insane fights that had the Prize Fighting Championship. Everything was it's a gift. I was just a gift. I'm talking. I didn't even know the way I got the job. The way it was so weird. Everything just fell together. It was so. And suddenly I'm a commentator. Listen, I'm so green in commentating that the first time I didn't bring a suit. I didn't know that commentators would have to wear. I never paid attention to a commentator. I was stupid at it. So I'm in my shorts and in my flip flops and my Hawaiian shirt, and I'm at the bus. Yeah, they go, "Where's your suit?" I go, "What suit?" They started laughing. They thought I made a joke. I go, "I didn't bring a suit. I would probably bring a suit." "Are you serious?" I go, "Yeah, I'm serious." So then, thankfully, we had this really good producer at the time, Michael Braverman, and he says, "Come on, we'll come up with something." And Stephen Quadros was in the place, in the where the show is with all the fighters. He was there talking to the camera, and I was in the back sitting there with my Hawaii shirt on, with like 6 geishas around, feeding me grapes and fanning me down, and I'm telling war stories. And that's how it started. And then elder people, they loved it. They thought we did that on purpose. The crazy openings from Pride, right? They always did a weird opening, like a little movie-like thing. Well, that came together because I forgot my suit. That's how it started. That was not planned. That was just necessary. And then people loved it so much, we just kept doing it. So yeah, that's fun.
Wow, awesome.
It's like that we are born.
By the way, I really miss Inside MMA. I love that show.
That was such a great show. I always feel this, but there was no one time. No, we did 431 shows. And there was not one day that I would say, you know what, I would love to stay home today. I was always looking forward to go there because there was always new fighters. There were also the old guys, like me, that would get them back in. It was such a badass show to meet everybody, get updated. Yeah, I missed that show as well. It was fun.
It was really great. And then it was Inside MMA and then the lion fights on that channel that I loved. And then it got taken away from me.
Yeah, ripped it out. Yeah, lion fight. That show, I love that show. What a good show that is.
Yeah.
Now with all these, there's always a new crop of fighters. Are there any fighters that you currently enjoy watching?
Yeah, that's the thing. Almost everybody, right? I mean, they're so good right now. Like I was standing out at the time because I had great striking, great ground. My wrestling always sucked, but that was, and that together with my stamina, that just made me win fights. And at the time when I was competing, a lot of guys were just predominantly a striker or a submission guy, or a wrestler where they'll take you down or hold you down. There was not, not many skills all put together. And the ones that did have that, they were the guys that rise up on top. Now, everybody has that. So now they're all good fighters everywhere, and the wrestling involved. Like my wrestling sucked, but I just became very good at submissions. So they would take me. Like this is a fun stat that they had when I went into the UFC Hall of Fame. They said that I won 15 times by submission, but I never attempted a single takedown. You see, that's kind of cool as well. So they took me down, and I would reverse them and go for a submission. So that's a stat that I'm proud of as well. But my wrestling always sucked. So don't ask me any wrestling. I'm actually better at it now.
Good stuff. So what do you got, James?
What do I got? Let's see. What else do I have? Now, I mean, you've been around for quite some time. Please tell me you have a Gene LaBelle story, because I am a Gene LaBelle fan as well.
Gene is, he said, okay, I'll tell you the first time I met him. So this is in 1995, October 1995. This was when I made the decision to come to America. So my buddy said, Frederico Lapanda also put some shows on it over in Japan, over in Brazil, the Vale Tudo Championships. He was a friend of mine. He says, for you, Bas, America is going to be much better. Every dollar you make in Holland, for the same job, you make $10 in America. That's just simply how it is. And you, with your personality, I think people are going to love you. So why don't you come after your fight in Japan? It was in October 1995. Come there because there is a seminar. A lot of guys, Goka Savician, Gene LaBelle, Benny the Jet, like a lot of the Machados were there. they're teaching a seminar at the LAPD. And I go, sure. So after the fight, I went over to America. That's when I called my wife, and I said, get ready. We're going to move here. She said, what do you mean? I said, it's October. In Holland, they're skating on lakes. And I'm sitting on the beach drinking a freaking tequila shot at the Heineken. I said, honey, we're going to move here. This is a badass place. And that was it. And I was teaching a seminar. And I'd never heard about Jean LaBelle. Because in Holland, it's like some TV shows and some fighters we simply never heard of. And there was this weird guy walking around with red hair, and he was constantly commenting on my submissions, what I was showing, but in a good way. Like I was showing knee bar, and he goes, "Oh, excellent!" And then he go, "Oh, perfect!" And he was screaming like that. I go, like, "Who is this freaking guy?" You know, he's a weird because it's not 95. You know, Gene still till this day is scary, but at that time he was even more scary because he was.
Yeah, you're right about that.
27 at the time. It was 95. Oh, yes, 27 years. And then after that, Federico, he says, Bas, you're going to have to meet somebody. This guy's a legend. And then Jean LaBelle. And I heard of Jean LaBelle, but I never put a face to it. And that was the very first time I met Jean LaBelle. And that's we became instant friends. He said, that guy, man, he could be the toughest guy we have here in America, right? I mean,
that dude, for being the age he is now, still scares the bejesus out of me, and I've never met him. I've only read his biography, and he scares me.
Yeah, no, he's something. I mean, I think like 5 years ago, he was still making wheelies. So, yeah, that guy. And the whole Steven Seagal story, you know, which he doesn't want to say, but everybody around
Of course. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. So, he's a special guy. And I heard those stories. And same as through him, I met Benny the Jet, right? Benny the Jet's another one. You know, I was a big fan of Benny already in Holland. I mean, the things he did and his back kick to the body, that's freaking sick. I mean, he would terminate people with that. I mean, breaking spleens and livers with that back kick. Yeah, he was a crazy guy as well.
Now, people complain a lot about the judging in UFC. Do you have any thoughts about that, or any ways that you think it could be adjusted? No,
it's I always stay away from. If you're predominantly a boxing judge, you shouldn't do mixed martial arts. It's none of your business. You know, I had with the Athletic Commission, and they got offended after the show. There was a guy who had a person twice in a triangle choke, full on, and the referee broke him up. Oh. And then afterwards, they said, "What did you think of the show?" I said, "Is that a joke?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I was here in California. I go, "Dude, that freaking guy!" I said, "You stopped." I mean, that was insanity. You have no clue about submissions. You shouldn't be in that. And then there was the referee, by the way. There was not the judge. But there were also but that shows you that even if he's a judge, he doesn't know. And then I offered him. I said, "Listen, I got the big DVDs of combat. Give me your address. I'll send it to you for free." So you know. And I guess they got offended by it. I go, "Well, you see, and that's the thing." Like Mauro Ranello, the commentator. I brought him to Japan, and then he said, "I need to learn the submission game." I gave him the big DVDs of combat, and 4 shows later, he goes like, "Is he looking for an armbar, Bas?" I go, "Dude, you see it. I see it. That's freaking amazing. You see, because he studies it, he does it, you know. And those guys I really like. I think if it's your job, you know, how can you imagine you're a fighter yourself? That guy with the triangle choke. And the referee breaks you up, and then later you lose. How that sucks. If that referee has any idea what they can do to a person, I mean, first of all, it's less money, right? Half your pay, probably. A lot of organizations work like that. Second of all, it's another loss on your while you were winning. You had him. Yeah. So you can really ruin somebody mentally with that. I couldn't do it. That's the same as being a ref. I don't know if I could do that, you know, because we make mistakes. Yeah. You know, and the people, they spit on them. I go, guys, these guys just want the best for you. They really try to not make. I know some of these referees and the karate combat, you know, and they made a decision, and the next day we were at breakfast, and one came down completely like, "What's going on, dude?" He says, "I don't know if I made the right decision," and it hounds them. They're so full in. They're so there for you. Don't spit on these guys if they make a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake. You know,
yeah. So do you think they should be maybe trained a little bit better? Maybe go over a few more things before getting in
Thankfully, there? We have that. You know, Frank Drake and he invited me a bunch of times. They go once a week, and I did it a few times with them because I thought it was fun. I believe it's on a Thursday. The Athletic Commission, all the judges now. This is nowadays. They go online. They watch an old fight, which they don't know which fight it's going to be, and they show it suddenly, and everybody's watching it. And then you have to start making your comment. Was this decision good? Was this decision good? And then you realize these guys work really hard to try to be the best person for you out there. So give them a little love.
Yeah. No, and I think it's rare that they do make a really bad call. I think it's happened, a couple of times. But, you got, Big John McCarthy. I think he has his own school, I heard, where he's trying to help out people. And Herb Dean also. And I know those two guys are pretty good. I don't really hear anything.
Mark Goddard. Those are really good.
I think the UFC referees are getting pretty good nowadays. But, a lot of people complain anyway. But, I think that's pretty cool.
Yep. There's a lot of good guys out there, and they all want the best for the fighters. So that's why I always say, be nice.
Yeah.
All right, Bas. That's going to do it for us here with the MMA Mainstream Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. And just for me, would you please say your catchphrase? Because I love it so much.
Godspeed, party on. Oh, what? Oh.
Yeah.
Buena suerte y disfruten de las fiestas. There you have it in Spanish. Woo! Godspeed, everybody. And party on. Right.
Thank you, Bas. And thank you.
We have a lot of stuff going on, and we'll reach out to you. Appreciate you, Bas. Kaelyn, James, you guys want to say any last minutes to them?
We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
And thank you. And everyone watching, we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
All right.
Sounds good. Have a great